Another survey shows that over 70% consider themselves in debt.
And among the factors that justify this rate are the loss of income and the additional expenses motivated by the pandemic.
Claudia's debts include overdue credit cards and unpaid utility bills. For manicurists, paying off debts seems impossible.
When a customer shows up bringing movement and money, we go there, hustle, and pay off some bills. As you go, there's no way around it. Squeeze here, squeeze there. In our lives, we just keep on going.
The number of indebted has increased for the 11th consecutive month and reached a new record. Almost 75% of families have installments to be paid, and one of the biggest villains is the credit card.
There's a whole bunch of super debtors. Last month, the percentage of families who declared themselves heavily indebted exceeded 15%. It's the highest index since September 2011.
Because today I am aware of the consequences that debt brings to life. And financial problems are more likely to cause divorces than infidelity. The principles from the Bible and financial management, not only for making more money, no, but for saving your family. To avoid making mistakes that many people have made, resulting in the destruction of families, dreams, and relationships that are so important to us all. The Bible is incredibly rich, that if you apply what is inside it, there is no way you won't prosper and experience abundance in every area of your life.
Because after the rich Christian, I begin to perceive life in a different manner. My financial problems were fading away. A mortgage on my house, which I would still take 8 years to pay off. I'm telling you that today I have a fully paid off house.
I have to say, Rich Christian was placed in my life at a crucial moment. He made me empty myself and believe that those people were there to give me support, to give me mentoring, to teach me the way to really get rid of debts, have a balanced financial life, be able to make investments, have extra income, unearth talents, and know where I want to go.
I've got my act together. I don't owe the loan shark anymore. In the stores, private businesses that were there too, because it was tough, you know. I don't have, everything is under control. My financial life is all under control. I can say thanks to the rich Christian, I'm at peace. I can have a financial life like this, more peaceful. In terms of finances, I'm not a slave to financial constraints.
Today I sleep peacefully. Our lives have undergone a complete transformation. I initiated the narrative by discussing the debts I had incurred in order to convey it to you in a comprehensive manner. And today we're investing, man. Today we are investors. Today we were able to donate to people who are in need of assistance. That is a quite impressive principle. It truly makes a significant difference in our lives and has a profound impact on us. Today I feel peaceful. Today I sleep peacefully. We still have our own life challenges, it never stops. But today I can plan myself, schedule myself to achieve, every day achieving new things. Today is a day of peace and productivity for me.
In the Bible, there are numerous principles of financial management that you may have never been aware of. And people who are unaware of these principles ultimately suffer and perish due to their lack of knowledge. However, the reality is that when you adhere to these principles and implement them in your financial life, you begin to experience a sense of financial tranquility.
Many of the principles of effective management can be found in the Bible. And we commence to uncover that there exists a biblical wisdom that is not imparted in the realm of administration. When you combine these two things, it's very powerful and causes the transformation we've been seeing here.
Following biblical principles of finances is an act of obedience. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but the Bible tells us the story of Moses, who freed God's people from slavery in Egypt. The people in Egypt labored in exchange for food and lodging in order to endure and stay alive. They were residing in bondage in Egypt, and Moses liberated God's individuals from that circumstance. And what's the difference between them and someone who spends the whole month paying bills for food and a roof to live without being able to fulfill God's dreams in their life? They spend the whole month, it's like their story, just paying the bill. If you compare it to other financial advisors, most of them talk about making more money. It's not about making more, spending less. It has to do with application of the things that God left us in the Bible, to know how to use the seeds well that He placed in your hand. So one of the principles that we apply in our method is the principle of good stewardship. It's about being faithful in the administration of the people, because many just expect to earn more and think that will solve their problems. If that were indeed true, the fortunate lottery winner would never have to worry about financial problems ever again. And that is not what occurs. Generates a large amount of money and loses all of it. Why? Because they don't know how to manage. You don't know how to apply biblical principles of financial management to your life, which should be the foundation of your finances. The basis is good pampering. It's about being faithful with the little that God has already placed in your hand. Because whoever is faithful in little will be put in much. And now I'm going to ask you a question. How have you been managing the little that God has already put in your hands? You continue to think that you should earn more, that you should spend less. However, what have you been doing with the penny that passes through your hand? Do you prefer that 1 cent multiplied every day or $1 million in your hand today? That 1 cent multiplied every day for 30 days generates much more than $1 million in hand today.
When I was faithful in the little, the Lord restored me abundantly, because that's one of the insights that Dr. Thaila gives us about being a steward, a good steward, faithful to what you have, to what you earn. After the course, I was able to save some money remaining from my salary, which was something I hadn't been capable of achieving for a long time. I paid off debts, a debt of our $23,958.00, if I'm not mistaken then. In 60 days, I managed to pay off that debt. That for me was, guys, this is priceless. It's priceless. This has value. And after the Rich Christian, besides me growing financially, I believe I have grown a lot financially. I helped other people. There's a cool story behind it. Raquel is my friend. We used to be part of a group, and she reached out to me and said, Nilda, that's what she calls me, Nilda. Is that really you? Does this work? And where I could really talk to Raquel, that was genuine here. And Raquel also joined and made the Rich Christian right after me.
I was watching, and then Dr. Thaila, in a beautiful moment, said, let's see some testimonials. And then her video appeared. I have her phone number. So while I was watching, I called her and said, look, I'm seeing you here. I'm watching this intense session from Rich Christian, and you appeared. Is this thing for real? Did you really get rid of all those debts? How did it go? And then she reassured me and said, look, it's serious. It's from God. I can't tell you exactly how it happens, but participate. Go without fear, do everything you have to do, and you won't regret it. And that's exactly what happened. After seeing her, after talking to her, I said, no, this is from God for my life. And then I had the courage I needed to enroll in the course and get where I got, thank God. I have a job financing, I have financing on my house, I have other debts that were bothering me. And I managed to do something that hadn't happened in years in my life, to have money left over. To have money left over, man. I never had any money left over. I'm managing to save up to make the investments that the Rich Christian advisors in the portfolio were following. The butler is the one who takes care of something that is not his, but takes good care of it when he is good. And the Word of God tells us that when our Lord Jesus comes, He will ask us, He will say some things to some people. Good and faithful servant, you have been faithful in little, I will put you in charge of much. So that's what I would like to hear. while being a maid. So for me, the good life, based on what I've learned, is when God gives you time, money, health, or whatever God has given you in terms of blessings and provisions. You got to be a good steward of this. How are you using this? So that messed up everything in my life. In terms of my spiritual life, my financial life, and my physical well-being, you can easily imagine that it is imperative for you to take care of the blessings that God has bestowed upon you. How are you tending to what He entrusted to you, namely the temple? We are the dwelling place of the Holy Spirit, so you cannot comprehend. It is a profound transformation.
The fundamental basis of our ministry is completely focused on the principle of Christian stewardship, which assumes that we are administrators, good stewards, of everything that God entrusts to us in our lives and calls us to manage faithfully. And once we grasp this fundamental principle, that becomes the crucial key to our understanding and success. When we come to the realization that everything we have is a gift from God, and we handle it with gratitude and wisdom in managing our finances, we begin to approach money in a completely different and transformative way. And we start to really conclude what we always say in the ministry, that money is a tool to fulfill the purposes of living on earth. So I begin to comprehend money not only as a means to fulfill my self-centered wants and needs, but as something much greater and more significant than that. It is God's purpose for you to have a worthy life. It is God's purpose that you, in some way, provide for your family, that you fulfill your dreams and aspirations, and that you strive to make a positive impact on the world around you. However, numerous individuals also end their efforts at that point. Many individuals seek assistance from God. They request financial solutions from God, but they overlook the fact that they should also strive to be the solution themselves.
And the individual who works solely for the purpose of paying the monthly bills finds themselves in a situation reminiscent of the people of God in Egypt, who used to live solely to pay the bills, without any ability to pursue or achieve their dreams. It is the mother who is unable to help a child. You are unable to donate more to the church. You are unable to fulfill your family's dreams. And I desire to inform you of something. If what I just stated to you made sense to you, seems somewhat like your current situation, working the entire month just to pay bills, you are essentially being a slave, completely bound by financial obligations and lacking true freedom. In this context, we emphasize either serving the money or letting the money serve you. Which option will you select? I'm from Campo Grande, Mato Grosso do Sul. My parents have always encouraged me and my sisters to study hard. Education is something no thief can ever steal from you in life. A thief can steal whatever they want from you, but your education, your knowledge, no one can steal from you. In this time of great encouragement to be studying, I noticed that it's what I liked the most, and I always paid close attention to their financial life. What I remember a lot from my childhood about this financial issue is my parents wanting to give everything to me and my sisters without being able to afford it. And they would get into consigned loans, into overdraft. My dad, with a really good heart, always helped his sisters, his family, and he even gave almost all of my mom's salary to help his sisters. That was very noble, but it caused a big mess at home. Due to the fact that when my mother had the desire to exercise control over the finances, avoid paying interest, and not be subjected to the burden of the overdraft, while my father didn't place as much importance on it, I came to the realization that the situation was kind of like when they talk about on the plane, when the oxygen mask drops, you put it on yourself first and then on the other person who is with you. It is pointless. If you put it on someone else and neglect to put it on yourself, you will die and be unable to save another person. So You must ensure your finances are in order to be able to save someone else, as exemplified by the scenario of the oxygen mask on the plane. When I saw my dad and mom fighting over money, I promised myself that I wouldn't go through that anymore. And that is the reason why I saved money, attended college, obtained a degree, successfully completed a reputable public examination, and upon discovering the truth, I realized that I had been making serious financial mistakes that needed to be rectified immediately. I was the individual who made a promise not to go through this. I was acquiring a loan with a co-signer. I even made a purchase of a car with a co-signed loan thinking I was doing a good thing. I got myself into a financial mess because I kept taking out so many consigned loans. I thought buying a car outright with a consigned loan was a smart move. When I was not around, what was I doing once again? Paying interest. And there is a solution for that because I did not really know how to utilize the tool that God placed in my hands. I did not comprehend that every single seed, every penny that passed through my hands had a specific purpose. And I could not be a slave to consigned loans and debts any longer. Because God didn't make me for this. Because I realized that I was becoming a slave to consigned loans. I mean, how was I, a fully qualified lawyer, economist, and civil servant, supposed to go through this difficult and overwhelming situation that I had no prior experience dealing with? I was in this state of total financial chaos. And I do not want to endure the same way I witnessed my parents enduring because of money and the hardships it brings. The purpose of my existence is not solely to pay bills. Simply paying bills is not my sole purpose. I did not have a perspective of experiencing a dream come true, such as the dream of possessing my own house, without needing to obtain financing for it. I had a realization that I had reached a point where there were no more paths or avenues for advancement or departure. I stated, no, it is not possible. There must be a solution. There must be a way out. I used to work with debt collection until one day, within my job, I saw a businessman, a big-shot businessman, because of a debt collection made against him, he committed suicide.
And that was my day off and off.
I found myself in a position where I would file lawsuits against individuals who owed a substantial amount of money. And this businessman had all of his assets seized, frozen, and we discovered 1 week later, subsequent to the initiation of this lawsuit, that he had tragically and devastatingly taken his own life. It was a city in the countryside, and we found out through the local newspapers. And that frightened me a great deal. And I voiced, enough, take a look at the chaos that a debt creates in a person's life. It's truly overwhelming. And I began contemplating the family, contemplating the wife of the businessman, the children. Because in that moment, I had a sudden realization that I was gradually turning into a slave to debts, just like the loans that are consigned. Because working the whole month just to split my salary with the bank, I said, I don't want that for myself. I'm not a slave to the bank. I can't work for it. Visualize a puzzle in your mind. My life was akin to those scattered pieces, and I found myself in need of devising a method to intricately interlock and harmonize those pieces within this perplexing puzzle, ultimately unraveling and resolving the predicament I was currently experiencing. I went searching for courses. I took multiple courses with trainers from Brazil and other countries. And because I was in Sao Paulo, I seized this opportunity. I attended international trainings in the field of financial education, and I began assembling this puzzle, creating this method with practical tools aligned with biblical principles of finance, because I already comprehended the significance of God in our lives.
My story before the Rich Christian, it was a story of 25 years working in just one company. During the pandemic, I got laid off, adding to my existing debts. Tough times, but I'm determined to overcome. Car financing, still making payments. So there were a lot of things there, even some outstanding debts. Land, paying in installments. So like this shock, we were like, oh my God, and now what? What's our plan? And that's when I began studying. I commenced taking the course gradually, and I observed the transformations. Numerous changes, decrease in bills, believe it or not. I acquired knowledge on performing additional activities that before we didn't even care because we were in our comfort zone, you know? So I learned how to do some extra things. I created a virtual store through the course where they teach us to push ourselves, going through a metanoia, a real change of mindset, of thoughts, of attitudes, and that greatly aided. So every step I took in the course, I witnessed the alterations, and ultimately it proved to be a complete triumph, encompassing both tangible and intangible aspects. It was truly a remarkable and awe-inspiring experience.
Thanks to my smooth talking, I managed to get some money back from the bank for my mom. My spouse noticed the change in my life. Monthly, he transfers his full salary to my account for me to manage on his behalf. Relatives sometimes who want to know about investments, they sometimes ask my husband, they say, oh no, my wife knows about this. Hey, thank God I managed to overflow in the lives of my family, which is the goal of the rich Christian. It's not just about having extra money, but also overflowing in people's lives.
Upon discovering the method and commencing its application to my life, the initial step was to establish priority. I knew that God didn't want me in that situation anymore. And I didn't keep track of expenses, no. Who said out there, oh, financial education, write all expenses, it's all wrong. It's not like that. And I didn't stop having my coffee that I really liked. No, it's not about cutting everything either, no. I took the biblical principles of finance, arranged them in my financial life, established priorities, made improved choices, and had a clear understanding of where to take action. I stopped just praying without taking action. I started praying with action, setting priorities. That is how I eliminated the consigned loan. The fright I experienced when I repaid my loan, the quantity of interest I managed to avoid paying. I realized the amount of money that would be in the possession of the banks if I had not made a decision at that particular moment. Have you ever paused to consider the amount of resources you have squandered in your life by paying interest? Families waste a substantial amount of their resources by paying interest, which is essentially money, a valuable and finite resource that is taken away from people's lives and families without any specific purpose or benefit in return. Therefore, paying interest is currently the largest squandering of a family's budget. Paying interest is similar to squandering the tools that God places in your hands. The amount of enslavement I would experience towards my job during the periods of work that lie ahead of me would be the result of wasting that money by giving it to the bank. And the Almighty granted me the strength to take action to eliminate this from my life. Rodrigo initiated his exploration of the digital world, you know. I came to realize that I had a plethora of tools at my disposal, and he, being well versed in the digital world, turned to me and inquired, "Do you possess any expertise in finance? Is there anything you can teach people? Do you have any valuable knowledge or skills that you can share with others in this digital realm?"
It's just that I told her, I said, look, I feel like God is calling you to this ministry. And she would say, no, no way. Leave me here in peace. It's all good. I've overcome my financial life. I'm good. I'm investing. I'm financially stable. And then she initiated praying. She commenced seeking, and she initiated obtaining answers from all sides, with God communicating to her, go and expand the size of your tent. Go and enlarge your tent. because there are millions and millions of individuals waiting for this opportunity, waiting for these teachings, so that they can also experience a transformation in their financial life.
And I said, I am going to show up. Then he said, I know how to do that. We do a live broadcast. We already have a channel that allows us to stream our content in real time. And if you want to do this with me, we're going to do it together. There were times when I wanted to give up, because I've even done a live with my daughter with a 38-degree fever in the other room. And I said, I'm not going to do this live today. I had to depart from my daughter to participate in a live event, so at the beginning, my line was as old as a monkey, with an age that seemed to stretch on for an eternity. Many say it's easy, you guys have a channel, a lot of students, but nobody remembers my first video, the one I made. And I wanted to stop everything. So I was sleeping, but God wouldn't let me stop. Because I uttered words and He gave me a directive telling me to go and expand the dimensions of my tent, making it larger in size and capacity. And I am aware that every single time I said it, I'm going to stop, I won't do it anymore. There was a word from you that you can't stop. This go widen your tent was consistently affirming when I expressed my desire to stay in this comfort zone. I have already achieved financial stability, learned effective strategies, and know exactly how to manage my expenses. I can comfortably remain here, knowing the precise percentage of my investments and ensuring a prosperous life. And God would communicate with me during every religious gathering I participated in. He would express, I do not desire you to remain in your current state. I desire you to grow and develop further. And then I would say once more, I am going to give up. So He would say to me, when you depart, I do not want to ask you how many exams you have passed. I do not want to know the number of exams you have successfully completed. I do not want you to provide information regarding the amount of studying you did. What I am interested in is hearing about the number of people you were able to help using the tools that I have given you. Hello there. On that particular day, you are going to approach me and say, look, I have provided assistance to Marina Alva in getting out of that difficult situation, supported someone else in realizing their aspirations, and it is these lives that will have had a significant impact on your life in this place.
So then I took out my first consigned loan, already pledging my state salary. At 6 months, I already did the second one, pawning my stuff from the city because my siblings needed things, my house needed things, and every time I did it, my salary decreased and I was getting tighter. So I acquired additional loans. This time I chose to apply for a loan on my bank account with excessively high interest rates. And then when I couldn't borrow anymore, that's when I went through an even tougher time when I looked for a loan shark. I encountered an issue. In order for him to loan me some money, I had to leave my credit card at that location. I couldn't withdraw my salary anymore. I started asking God to help me, to show me a way to pay and an opportunity to start over. On a social network, I was browsing by chance. When I walked past the doctor, she caught my attention with her post. It caught my attention when she said, like, to have extra money and fulfill God's dream in your life. And when she mentioned something about fulfilling the dreams that God has for us, I was like, whoa, that really caught my attention and made me curious to learn more. I leaped right into the group. I desired to know more. I used to actively participate in classes, paying close attention, as if it was food to me, because there was my last chance to learn and grow. I was able to follow her advice. and as a result, I successfully paid off the debt. I promptly went to the loan shark and made the payment on the same day. And I grabbed the card back. When I went to pay, I didn't even want to sleep because I thought something was going to happen to me at night and I wouldn't be able to get that card. I celebrated a great deal, you know. It was a feeling of freedom, a first step forward. I've got my act together. I shouldn't be borrowing money anymore. In the stores, private businesses that I also had because it was difficult, I have everything under control. My financial situation is completely under control. I do not have any worry or concern. One of the things I constantly had was power outages. I couldn't handle it. Today I don't have. Sometimes I see a fancy card, take a breath, then I don't have it. I am calm. Everything is up to date, broken. The year 2020 was the first year that I ended with a total of $1,500 in my possession. I can say thanks to Rich Christian, I am at peace. I can have a more peaceful financial life. In terms of finances, I'm not a slave to financial obligations or constraints.
The truth is that the majority of Christians are not educated about this, about financial education, about managing their money, and as a result, we have numerous students, pastors, and missionaries who, upon learning from us, express astonishment, stating that no one has ever taught them this.
Look, the solution to all of this is in the Bible. The solution to all of this can be found by following biblical principles and practicing sound financial management. And that is truly powerful. I believe this is the primary secret behind such a great deal of transformation that we have witnessed in the ministry. This ministry has already impacted millions of lives. There are tens of thousands of students, and we would have testimonials from people, life-changing testimonials from people that we could have even after more than a year here, and it still wouldn't be enough.
So if it weren't for the Rich Christian, probably the access to this concept, to this information, because the attitudes, they go against the change of mind, So initially, the alteration in mindset, there is no way to avoid it, as it is stated in Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This transformation is crucial for personal growth and living a purposeful life. However, in the present day, if you take a look, from 85% to 90% of individuals, they are in a state of debt. Affluent, he supplied me with that, signifying he bestowed upon me one, literally dropped that bottle of eye drops, you know. Therefore, due to the assistance of Rich Christian, I am now liberated. This is in recognition and praise of the Lord's magnificence and splendor. The quality of life for both me and my family has significantly improved, leading to a greater sense of tranquility. This is undeniably true, as there is absolutely nothing that can surpass the value of peace and its positive impact on our lives.
The problem is that there are a lot of people who just sit around praying, waiting for the miracle to fall from the sky. And the very word prayer speaks of praying, but action. You should definitely pray, but you should also take action.
When you redefine money, when you perceive money differently in your life, not as a deity, not as a mere triviality, it is not like that. But when you realize that He is a tool and that you have to be able to deal with this tool that God is giving you, everything in your life changes. Every seed that God places in your hands has a particular purpose.
Acquiring these biblical principles of finance is something you are constructing your financial life upon the rock. It is not based on the sand, no, but rather on a solid foundation. When you construct, envision yourself building a house. If you construct this house on sand, the first storm will come, and this house will collapse and be destroyed completely. That's how people have lived their financial lives, without foundation, without principles. Nevertheless, When you establish your financial life with a solid foundation on the rock, you elevate this house on the rock, irrespective of the intensity of the storm. This house will endure and will not collapse or give way. Even when you pass by a construction site, you can see that they spend a lot of time just on the foundation. Foundation takes time, a crucial time for project, and you say, wow, it's not appearing. It's a principle, but there's construction happening over there. And suddenly you pass by, think, wow, there's a building here. But those individuals had already worked there for a long time at the foundation. So it's futile you wanting to build your financial life on sand or only on what seems without foundation. During the first storm, amidst the initial financial problem, everything is going to come crashing down. And when you have knowledge of it and construct it in the right manner, irrespective of what transpires, regardless of the storm, this house will not collapse.
So, taking it from the Bible, extracting the principles that are foundations, you construct a dwelling on the solid rock, ensuring stability and durability for your house. This individual is Jesus, and he possesses the teachings that he left us with.